Hi and welcome to the Dave Erasmus show.
As you can see, we're in the hut, guys.
You've had a refurb.
You know how much I love very light lilac. No, clearly nowhere near the forest today, nowhere near the woods. But I've come to visit my lovely friend Louise.
Hello, I'm his lovely friend Louise.
Who's got a DVD coming out and I can't see it.
Here it is. I've always got one to hand.
She hates to talk about it.
I hate to, but it is available now to order on Amazon. Production quality is very strong.
Oh no, that was a bit much.
But now, perfect for Christmas.
I sometimes don't give Christmas the attention that it deserves, and Louise kind of embodies Christmas spirit.
If you could see what we're looking at, I've got wrapping paper everywhere. I mean, this is just something that's around.
I'm here to get infested with a little bit of Christmas spirit. I know it's not a great word, is it? If you've been following what we've been doing, you know, for the last 6 or 8 weeks in the woods, we've been trying to figure out how to get back to the wild, back to nature. Now, as I've been trying to tell my friends and family, like, what I'm up to, as you can imagine, some of them
sort
are
of just going, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. So Louise is very, very honest. Known for your honesty, really, aren't you? Your candour.
Blunt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I thought we would try a bit of a conversation where you kind of...
I'm going to be blunt with you.
See if we can figure out how to translate what I'm doing so that it makes sense to people.
Okay, so I'm going to start with...
Okay.
Dave, why don't you want to live in a normal, comfortable house?
I'm glad you asked, Louise. It's not that I don't want to, it's just that something in me compels me to explore what it's like to live more naturally in nature, to learn from nature, to be more connected to it. And I think there's something about the simplicity of natural materials like wood that makes me feel...
So you find it quite cathartic and
I do.
calming, good for the soul?
I do. I find the world is quite complicated and busy.
But isn't it harder to live in the woods? Like, aren't you making your life hard?
Well, you can have hard physical work and hard mental work.
But both.
It's not mentally that hard, no, because it's quite slow. Everything's slow, so it's not like, oh my god, what's going to happen? Hyperventilating.
That's my life.
Yeah, I didn't want to say anything.
I mean, Dave arrived and I was crying. I was on the phone crying. Just come in.
Exactly. Now, don't get me wrong, I get a bit lonely in the woods, but it's relaxing. It's like going to a spa. It's just a bit more rustic.
Like a lot more rustic. Like, you're just shit outside.
In a box? I mean, what's the difference?
You just sit on a box in the wilderness.
Yeah, but it's the best view you'll ever have. I mean, what's your view like on your toilet?
I just go on my phone.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly my point, Louise. You could be staring at the stars or watching a nightingale come down and swoop in.
Whilst I have a poo.
Yeah.
Something to consider.
Have you tried it?
No, I haven't.
Well, you can't knock it, Louise.
Okay, well, I'm going to come down and have a little poo in your woods.
It's really, you look shy, Louise.
Same question, but what has compelled you to delve into your academic world? Like, just to be clear, not that many years ago, you had a lovely job with a desk and a swirly cushioned chair and lived in a house with central heating. You now live, you reside mostly in the woods and you deliver lectures on intelligence to some of the smartest people in the country. Why?
Oh, why? I like that. I'm having that one. Oh, why? Life was good, but I felt I got to the point where I wasn't being authentic to myself not to take that next step and explore further. And I think that's the most challenging thing right now, is I'm used to being very strategic and businessy. So it'll be like, right, Louise, what are you up to? Well, I'm doing this DVD and we want to get it done by this and then. And I'm used to being that guy who has that...
This DVD, available on Amazon now, linked below.
It's because I had to. I can't describe it in any other way. I feel that the world is changing in a way that we're not prepared for. And in a way that has never happened in history. I think that all the stuff we're seeing with Brexit and Trump and the sense of unrest, even though this is statistically the safest period in history ever, it doesn't feel like it. It feels like it's all falling apart. And I think partly, could that just be that 2016 was a shit year? It could be, but I sort of feel that maybe all these systems we're used to might not survive into the future. Because, I mean, have you seen anything about self-driving cars?
No.
Okay, well, Ford have said that they will have their self-driving car out for you to buy in 2020.
I'd love that. But what if it decided to drive me somewhere I don't want to drive?
Well, there we go. There's some big questions in there about whether it will do what you want it to do and do it safely. But also, you don't depend on driving for your income. But like in America, there is 3 million people who drive lorries for a living.
Yeah.
That's 1% of the population. At some point in the next 10 years, overnight they will all lose their jobs. And that's just through one tiny intervention in the broader context of automation. Mm-hmm. And that's a small part of all of what's happening with technology.
So you want to see what it's like sans technology, just to see what life is like when you strip all that back?
Yes, I want to see what it's like to be in the natural world.
Yeah.
I want to have more space and time to engage with what I call God.
Yeah.
The unknown, the wonder of the stuff we can't
We've spent
understand.
a lot of time talking about what we think God is, haven't we?
Many long conversations.
Let's not do it now.
But hopefully many more.
Yeah.
And also though, I think the world of work is going to change. So we like to identify ourselves like, oh, what do you do? Oh,
yeah.
I'm
do you
a YouTuber.
know, when I was single and I was going on dating websites a lot, I always found that people would say, hi, how are you? What do you do? And so I started doing that back, going, hi, how are you? What do you do? And people say, I work, I'm an accountant. But then I realised that an accountant is not who you are. So I started saying, hi, how are you? What do you enjoy?
Yeah.
I just changed the question. And the different answer you got. Also, when you're saying about stripping things back, I was thinking it's not nearly on the same scale because I will always live in a house with like fluffy rugs and candles and things like that. Like as close to nature I get is like my gas fire and my decking that I keep like fairy lights and
It's a good start.
Yeah.
You're outside.
I've spent this year being less online. I've put up less content. I've taken a step back and it has dented like the business, I guess. If you're going to get like really into it, I've like earned less and done less than I did in 2015. But my like emotional well-being, I feel, has soared. We've talked about this before, haven't we? 2015, I just felt emotionally dead. And I had a lot going on. I was going through a breakup and lots of other stuff. But I do enjoy more spending just like mummy time. Like we take the kids to Leamington Park or to like this soft play centre and I put my phone in my bag and just have human interaction. Like I've made friends with all my neighbours and it's a community and I feel that's so much more enriching than laptop time, she says.
Clutching on for dear
onto
life.
my laptop with my phone to my hand.
Yeah, exactly.
And the DVD that I keep promoting that I had to make with cameras. Like, I just want to be at one with people and no technology.
But that is the world we live in. And even now, we're talking about all this stuff.
Can you survive without technology?
Wait.
Can you live without it?
Well, we're very, very embedded. And I think I'm not trying to live without technology. What I'm trying to get some awareness on is how ingrained we are with technology. How far that is from our natural environment, and how crazy I think things are going to get in the future. The world's busy, mental, complex, loads of stuff going on. We know about everything everywhere because of the internet.
Yeah, being watched all the time.
So what I think we need is frameworks and tools that help us to look at any new situation and kind of know how to interact with it. How can we discover intelligence in all the systems of life, whether we're looking at the humans, animals, ecology, even in machines, the emerging technology, the intelligence that's coming out of there, how can that help us to engage with this really, really complicated world? Yeah, I know, sorry. The camera is a system. Yeah. Your body is a system, a mighty fine system. The traffic...
That's the lamest response ever.
London is a system, right? All of these systems have a flow, a process that happens within them. You could call that intelligence. So what I want to do is help people to understand systems they've never come in contact with. You know what it's like, as soon as you've dealt with Facebook, you taught your mum Facebook, or what? Sorry, not your mum.
My mum's dead.
That's correct.
I dare you to leave that in.
We'll see.
Please.
Okay.
For the comedy, like you're like, oh. She's like,
Well, you're not used to talking about those things, though.
We should make a video about. There's nothing wrong with talking about death.
Yeah.
We all talk about giving birth and babies and life. Like death is just a part of life.
But in a way, that's kind of the reality that I'm trying to talk about here. Poo, death, sex, these are all functions of everybody's existence, yet we don't like talking about them. We'd rather talk about
sex.
Well, you do, because you're good at engaging and good at talking about those real things of reality. And there's a whole bunch of stuff in reality that we can't understand, which we kind of talk about as God, you know, this kind of being, this presence that goes beyond our language. But those are the things I want to talk about. And I find that in the busyness of normal, the everyday life, there's not room to have those chats. People just get too caught up in what just happened or what's about to happen.
Which is why, if you live in a forest, you're freeing your mind and you've got space to do it. Drop the mic!
I may or may not include this, and I may or may not include the link to the lecture below, because I've worked on it so hard for 18 months. I've edited it all.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I haven't shared it publicly. It's unlisted. I was doing projects and businesses and normal everyday things.
Yeah, you've worked on that for a long time.
Exactly. It's a complete different world for me of sort of philosophy and thinking about what is real. So I'm only at the beginning.
You did it.
Thank you.
I don't like to say proud of people because I think sometimes that's a bit patronising. Like, I'm like, oh, in my heart I'm proud. But I'm impressed.
I appreciate that.
Wow,
I can take
I'm
that on.
impressed.
As soon as you say, well, I'm just, thinking about things, and
just philosophising.
you just sound like you're wasting away.
You sound like a dick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You sound like you're trying to be cleverer than people. And the irony of the whole intelligence thing, right, is that it's not complicated. Every single system has a process. Stuff goes into your body through your eyes, through your ears, through your senses. You love touching stuff. That's all this information going in through. Then you process it and handle it inside your body.
Yeah.
In your mind,
got to
in your gut.
Got to think about it for a while.
Exactly. And then you express either through your vocal cords, your mouth, through your hands, where you write something, or through giving someone a hug or whatever. That is the process of intelligence. That is you intelligencing. You are taking stuff in from your environment, go, and then doing something out. It's like a digestion, and then you have varying degrees of it in different systems. This is the key thing.
Yeah, here's the key. This is the money shot.
Often people feel frustrated. They feel like blocked, like maybe they have an emotional block where they can't say what they want to say, or they don't know what those feelings are. Or like Stephen Hawking, for example, without that machine that he uses to speak, I'm sure he would experience a huge level of frustration because the first two parts of his system are really functioning well, taking in information, processing it, but he can't finish that process of intelligencing because he doesn't have the physical mobility to express. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
When you think about intelligence as a process, you can start diagnosing where the gaps are in the system and go, oh, we need to find a way to make a machine to help this guy to unblock his system. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I think it will help people in the end, but I just need to spend more time thinking out how to do that.
But you're in the perfect position to now that you're living in the forest.
And when are you coming to visit me in the forest?
In the spring, when it's warm and there's flowers.
This is a legally binding contract?
Yep.
This is a rambling exploration of how to take what's...
that was beautiful, a rambling exploration.
Oh, thank you. I've been on my own for long enough, and now I want to start converting it into useful stuff to make people's lives better.
Yeah.
And you're helping me with that. Thank you, Louise.
Thank you, David Rasmus. Thank you for having me on your channel.
Oh, it is a joy. Dinner time.
Tapas.
Boom.
I'll just dissolve right here, right here, right here, right here, right here.
It's about work. My whole question was what needs to be done, what work is worth doing. Now I've removed myself from the world of work so I can think about what work is, what it's going to be, how it was going to change in the future, how that plays to our identity. But it's very hard to think about the world of work without having a backbone for the conversation, and understanding what intelligence is plays to every part of that. The identity, the artificial intelligence, the human intelligence. So getting the super concept down helps have the conversation. The woods, my intelligence stuff, it's all about thinking about work.